Good evening, everybody. I'm Kath Lloyd from Make the Change. It sounds as if I forgot who I was then, and it's lovely to be here for Let's Talk Stop, the second session from the new series of Let's Talk. Now, last week we talked about when you should hold your hand up and say, "Hi guys, I need a little bit of extra help here." And we sort of talked about when you know that that's the time to do it. So, and also, who do you go to? So, hi Helen, lovely to see you here. And so tonight we're going to be talking about stop. So we're going to be looking at S for stop, T for time out, O for observe, and P for progress. So what do you do when you don't know what to do any longer? When your head's in a muddle, when your brain's in a spin, when you're feeling very anxious, when you're feeling very stressed, and you're probably close to tears or not, if not in tears, maybe you're angry, you are being unbearable to live with, and you are feeling out of control. Well, this is what I want to talk about tonight, because, those sorts of feelings make you feel as if you're never going to get back in control again. But you will do, and it's about finding your right way of doing it. I'm going to show you one way, talk about one way that is a very good way of doing that. But all of these things that I talk about, they are easily adaptable to suit you and your own personality. And this is what it's all about. All of these things that everybody talks about, we can take bits and pieces from everybody and make up your own little system. But it's this for me works really, really well, because say for example, if you lose something, all right, they were talking about on the radio today that we spend masses of time looking for things that we've mislaid or lost. Well, yes, you start, rummaging around trying to find what it is that you've lost, but it gets to the stage where you're just standing there, at work or on your landing or, in your hall, and you're just thinking, hang on a minute, when was the last time I used it or the last time I saw it? And so you're actually stopping then, aren't you? Because you're stopping and you're thinking about, the process of, that thing that you've lost. If you're in your car and you're lost, you pull over and you sort of have a look at your sat nav, perhaps adjust it, or you get the map out, or you get out and you ask somebody. Mind you, in my experience, unless you're a man and you don't ask because you're too worried about it, but you start asking or you start investigating the right way of finding where you're meant to be going. And this is the same with us as well. When we get to that stage when we don't know what to do any longer, then it's about finding our way again. All right. And so this is why it's important to stop, so that you can have a little think about things. All right, because it's important to work out what it is that you want different from what you've got now. Okay, what is it that you are wanting from your thoughts and your feelings and your behavior? And then is it something, what you're searching for or what you're needing, what you're requiring, is that something that you've had in the past? Is what you're needing something that you've already felt, that you've already thought, that you've already had that behavior and you need to find that again? Okay, so when we're talking about stopping, it is about just sitting down for a minute, find a safe place to sit down. And when we found that place to sit, that safe place to sit down, you know, if you're outside, shut your eyes, hold your head up to the sun and breathe. Because when we're feeling in that state of confusion, anger, upset, we forget to breathe. I know it sounds a silly thing to do, and we are breathing, but your breathing is so shallow, it feels as if you're not breathing. And so it's about taking some deep breaths in and allowing yourself to feel that air going into your nostrils, down into your lungs, and holding it for a minute and releasing it. And then breathing in again. And imagine that air going down into your lungs and, you know, escaping from your lungs and into your blood supply and out around your body. And I always find that 3 times is a nice number, and it's after 3 times of deep breathing like that that I actually start to feel calmer. I start to feel a little bit more in focus. I start to feel as if I'm in a little bit more control, and because of all of that, you're in a better position to be able to process, to be able to think things through more clearly. Okay. And because you're giving your body that oxygen, that energy that it needs, so that your body's working properly. Okay, because if your body isn't working properly, if you're anxious and you're stressed or you're frightened and you're upset, your whole body is clamping up, and so it's not going to work properly. You're not going to be able to think properly, and that's why they say that, you know, if you've lost something or you've forgotten something, it's in a state of relaxation that it springs to mind. And this is exactly the same. You've got to be in a state of relaxation so that you can actually think through the process. Okay, so first of all, it's about stopping. The second time is about taking those deep breaths, so that you've got that extra energy, you've got that extra calmness, you've got that little bit of extra peacefulness. I'm not saying that, you know, whatever the issue is has disappeared, but you're in a better state to be able to manage it. And then it's about observe. So this is when you're in a better position to go back excuse me, to the questions I was asking at the beginning. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? How are you behaving? Okay, and it's about being honest about it. You know, I talk about this a lot. Put your hand on your heart and really be honest about it. And if you're feeling shit, then say to yourself, I'm feeling shit. This is shit and I don't like it. Or if you don't like that word, find a word that represents how you are feeling. All right? Because sometimes just saying those words, you know, in the basic form will really help you to just see it, to release it, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to release the tension, the anxiety, the stress, the frustration, the anger, the hurt, so that it will go, you know, so that it will flow away from you. And often the best way of doing that is through action. So whether it is having a scream and a rant and a rave, whether it's having a cry, you know, if sometimes, you know, I don't know about you, but sometimes you feel as if you want to cry, but you can't cry. Your body won't allow you to do it. So put on some music that makes you cry. Put on the film that makes you sob your heart out and release some of that tension, because, you know, that is what crying does for us. It helps release that tension, just like ranting and raving. Go out somewhere and have a scream, if that is your way of doing it. Or, put on the boxing gloves and get up the gym and, box that beanbag, or, if you can't do that, then box, the pillows on your mattress, pillows on your bed, just something that you can release that energy. All right. And then start thinking about what it is that you want to be different. Okay, this is how I'm feeling now, but this is how I want to be feeling. This is how I want to be thinking. This is how I want to be behaving. All right. And then think of a time when you have felt that before. And what was it that gave you those feelings, those thoughts, and that behaviour? Because if you can remember that time, you can go back to it and do the VACOG walk, which I've talked about in the past, so that you can use your memory bank, use the visual of that memory, the sounds of that memory, the smells and the tastes of that memory, the actions, to help you re-engage with those thoughts and those feelings and behaviours again. And then you'll be in a better position. I'm sorry about that, I had a phone call come in. I had to cancel it, my poor son. I'm sorry, I will call you back. So how are you... I've lost a bit of track of where I was going now. So yes, so you can tap into those thoughts and those feelings and behaviours again to help you find your better way of doing it. Okay, and then it's about P for pacing yourself for progress, and whether that progress is about getting the support that you need, like I was talking about yesterday. Is it a friend? Is it a work colleague? Is it a professional person? And just going to them and talking about things. But remember, it's about tiny steps. So when you're in this state of tension, anxiety, stress, frustration, feeling out of control, don't think too far ahead. All right, you know what you want to be thinking and feeling and behaving, but to get there might be quite a slow little bit of progress. All right, so hi Jenny, lovely to see you here. So the progress, make sure that the steps are small, but they're the right steps. All right, because if you take the wrong step or you take a too big a step and you're struggling to meet that step, then it actually might backfire on you, and you might end up feeling even worse and start the negative self-talk and the doubt again, and the lack of control and the confusion and the frustration and all of those feelings that you're trying to eliminate. All right, so it's have tiny little baby steps to help you get there. All right, and when you've done that little baby step, give yourself the thumbs up. Say, yes, I'm one little step away from how I was feeling before. And then progress on to the next step. Because actually those tiny little steps, those tiny little baby steps of progression to getting nearer to what you want to be feeling, thinking and behaviour are going to escalate and really support you, as long as you celebrate it, really support you in your long-term progress. Okay, because these times of tension, anxiety and stress and fearfulness and anxiety and feeling of lack of control, you're going to have other times like this. All right, but if you work through this in the right way, you're going to be in a better position to be able to reenact it the next time. Okay, and every time that you do it, you're going to get better at it. It's just like they say, practice makes perfect. All right, but if you go back to your old habits or previous habits, which will happen from time to time. Don't, you know, don't curse yourself, because, it's only the natural way our mind works. Okay. And so it's about being kind to yourself, um, knowing that you are human, and at the end of the day we make mistakes with, how we are going about our life. But the majority of time it isn't irreversible. Okay. It can be made better. But it's all about you and how you manage it, and how long you wait to start doing something about it. The longer you hold back, the harder it's going to be. So say, for example, if you've had a fallout with somebody, perhaps something was said that shouldn't have been said, and you regret saying that, or you are unhappy with what they said to you, the sooner that you can calm yourself down, get yourself in the right state to be able to communicate effectively, with voicing reason, with being calm, the easier it is going to be to progress and put that right. If you leave it and stay in a state of anger or frustration, the whole scenario is going to exasperate. Okay. And you will feel worse about yourself, you will feel worse about that other person, which means then that it's going to be harder work to be able to put things right. And this isn't just about with other people, this is about with ourselves as well. You can spend, I spent years and years blaming myself for things and playing the victim. And so my communication with myself was very, very poor. And it's just the same thing again. It takes a long, long time to break that habit of negative self-talk. All right, because at the end of the day, it does become a habit, and it's about producing a new habit so that you can, work effectively, communicate effectively, live effectively, live to the best of your ability. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, we're only here once, and we have to make the most of it, and live it how we mean it, and have fun with it as well. Because, especially at the moment, there's a lot of anxiety and tension coming through the press and the media, the radio, the telly, Facebook, everything that you are connecting with. And, when are you going to give yourself a break so that you can enjoy life as it is? So I just want to say thank you to the people who are here with me live. Adriano, thank you for joining me. And so today it's been about sort of starting with stop when you're feeling anxious and out of control. So I'll just recap what stop stands for. So S is basically stop and refocus. Ground yourself and refocus. And breathe so that you can energize your body again and calm yourself down. O for is observe your feelings, thoughts and your behaviours. Sorry, I've missed out T. T is for time out. Okay, and that is going to be about your breathing. O is for observe your feelings, thoughts and behaviours. And P is pace yourself and progress. So, next week, I'm going to be talking about your wheel of life. Now, this is a coaching tool that a lot of coaches use. I use it a lot with my clients. I use it a lot in my group workshops. And it is a fabulous way of starting to look at your life as a whole, where the different areas of your life are, and sort of what where you are at with your life. So it's a very flexible tool. I'm going to give you as much information as I can next week. So it would be great if you could join me again next week, and at 8 o'clock live here on Facebook, and practice your stop through the week when you get any of those feelings or thoughts or behaviours that you don't like. And if you want me to go over anything, then all you have to do is leave me a message or send me a personal message, and I can go through it with you again. But in the meantime, until next week, which is the first Wednesday in May, so we're speeding through this year, and I look forward to speaking to you. Have a great week, and remember to breathe. Good night.